Hello, what's up everybody? My name is Mike Brown, aka ReviewKingMB, and I am here to talk about and review the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. Of course, I am talking about the TV series back in the day, back in the 90s. I looked online for what some people consider to be the top 10 best episode of the series because my relationship with this series is quite interesting. See, when this first came out, first aired, it was 1993, so I was roughly 4, maybe 5 years old, very young, and I watched it at the time. I vaguely remember watching this each and every day coming home from school, Fox Kids, loving the hell out of this show. But at some point, I grew up, and I never really looked back. I never went back to rewatch this show since the 90s until right now because each and every single one of these episodes are on Netflix, in case you guys want to check it out as well.
We're back! We're ready to morph into action! Sticks working together to fight evil!
Day of the Dumpster, which is the very first episode of the series, we see Rita Repulsa come out of this planet garage garbage dumpster thingamajiggy. She comes out, she vows to destroy the world, of course. She's the main villain for a lot of these episodes. She's just kind of there in the background. And so Zordon, this big, huge, giant head in a glass capsule, tells Alpha, this robot, to handpick these high school kids to be the new Power Rangers. And these kids are Jason, Zach, Trini, Billy, and Kimberly. Jason is sort of the leader, the red Power Ranger. Zach, the one black kid of the group, is the black Power Ranger. Trini is the Asian girl, so naturally she's the yellow Power Ranger. Billy is the blue Power Ranger, and Kimberly is the pink Power Ranger.
Dragon Sword! Mastodon!
Pterodactyl!
Triceratops!
Saber-tooth tiger!
Tyrannosaurus!
It doesn't look great when the Asian is the Yellow Ranger and the one black dude is the Black Power Ranger. I never thought about it at the time, but looking back, man, is that racist. Just a little bit, but watching this show, rewatching this show, you cannot believe how over the top this acting is. How bad this acting is, let's be honest. These actors are terrible, but they're very young. I'm sure this was all of their very first gigs, and it's such a 90s show. You see, like, for example, the character Zach. Even the opening intro shows him breakdancing. The black dude is breakdancing. You could tell it's the 90s. Jason, who's the leader, is very generic. There's nothing to him.
What you did under Rita's influence. You own the power now.
That's why the second episode, it's 5 parts. So it's kind of cheating that they included the Green with Evil. They included that as one of the episodes, even though it's really 5 episodes. And that's where Rita Repulsa picks this kid, Tommy, to be her green Power Ranger. She gives him the powers. She mind controls him to be evil. But Tommy, I remember being my favorite Ranger of the group because he was just cool. He looked cool. And the fact that if anybody on this cast, he seems like he's the only one that actually does at least most of his fighting, most of his stunts. In fact, the actor who plays the Green Ranger, still to this day, he embraces the fact that he was the Green Power Ranger, embraces the fact that he was a Power Ranger, and that's where most people know him from. Being evil, fighting all of them, the one scene where he kicks all of the Rangers' asses by himself. How can you not think this guy is a badass? How can you not think that this guy is cool?
I didn't want to make it too easy for you. Of course, I'll be your date to the dance.
Calamity Kimberly is that episode. It's about Kimberly, who she's having a really bad day. All this bad stuff is happening to her. So Rita decides that's the day to kidnap her and put her in this little contraption. And Kimberly, I'm pretty sure that every 90s boy this was your first crush. She was definitely my first crush. The green candle, a sword that he uses as a flute to summon his dragon sword Zord creature.
Dinosaur power!
They're all dinosaurs. And the coolest thing about Jason is that he has a T-Rex Zord. That's cool. But all of them, they have pterodactyls and triceratops and all this stuff. Although every time they summon the Zords, they reuse the same footage over and over again. You notice that more and more as I'm binge watching these episodes. I'm like, wow, these shots are exactly the same that was in the last episode, and the episode before that, and the episode before that. Look, there's a part of me that's sitting there going like, wow, this is super cheesy, super corny, super dumb, and I almost can't believe that I allowed myself, no matter how young I was, to enjoy this. But there's that 5-year-old side of me that goes, wow, this is kind of cool, right? This is kind of cool to see these robot creatures, dinosaurs, come together where they form the Megazord, and it's all of a sudden turns into Transformers, or what we now know as Pacific Rim, because they're fighting like a giant Goldar, for example, the gold creature that is one of Rita's henchmen, and like every episode they fight him and they beat him and he just runs off, and we almost reset and do this over and over again. Kind of funny. It was the episode Doomsday where I really sat back and realized, because there was a lot of giant Megazord fighting in that episode, and I couldn't help but think, wow, how much of the city is being destroyed? How many people are probably dying in the destruction of this? But like every next episode, they don't really mention it. They don't really talk about it. They don't really mention how this big giant monster battle fight just happened.
You and your weapons are no match for me.
Number 6, Mighty Morphin Mutants. I have to talk about Zordon and Alpha. I mentioned Zordon, his big giant head, and how kind of goofy that looks, but his face is so blurry in the sense that you can't even see his mouth moving, and that's when I figured out. I looked online and tried to figure out, like, why is this like this? Why is Rita, the actress that plays Rita Repulsa, why every time she tries to deliver dialogue or talk, her mouth doesn't match the dialogue being said for her? Clearly she's being dubbed, but I wanted to know why it was so obviously dubbed. It was so badly dubbed. And come to find out, most of this footage is just recycled Japanese footage. This was a Japanese property, Japanese TV show, which you shouldn't be surprised, because when you see the Megazord battles, it looks like those old school Godzilla movies where it's somebody in a suit making it look like they're giant fighting each other. It's the exact same style. I just thought they were influenced by that, but no, they're just recycling Japanese footage. Fascinating that this show got as popular as it did. Alpha, this little robot fucker who, if he said ay 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 any more times, I was gonna rip his head off. I was so annoyed by this little shit. Mutiny, White Light, you see Tommy become the White Ranger. Because he had to give up his Green Ranger power, or actually Rita took it from him with this magic candle. Don't ask. None of these plots of these episodes are really all that well thought out, but they just kind of, it's clearly made for kids. The ninja encounter, that's where this becomes interesting. Tommy essentially becomes the leader of the group, and you start to see Jason, Zach, and Trini phased out from the group. And I'm not sure, there's some controversy like whether these actors wanted more money, but then they got fired, and because all of a sudden we see 3 new people show up and become Power Rangers, take their place. I'm talking about Rocky, Aisha, and Adam. Now, I don't really remember these actors as well as I do the originals, but the show doesn't really miss a beat either with the 3 new ones. Number 10 is Return of the Green Ranger. By this point, Rita was being phased away from being in every episode as the villain. Lord Zedd was the villain.
I am Lord Zedd.
I remember liking him or being creeped out by him. I thought he looked scarier than Rita. And what works about him is that the costume looks cool, looks menacing, but he wears a mask. So anything that he says, you're not fixated on the fact that the dub lines don't work with the mouth. Like, it's actually a great villain costume. Rewatching this, is this show good? Honestly, I have to say no. There's a part of me that understands why I loved it as a kid, why I had fun with it as a kid, and why kids my age, people who I grow up with, why we all used to love this stuff. I remember having action figures and toys and just really the video games. I remember loving this property. But it's not something that holds up. It's not something that you can get to a certain age and still go with. So guys, let me know in the comments below, what do you think of the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers? Did you love this show as a kid? Do you still love this show as a kid? Or did you never really understand the height of popularity that this show got? Like, comment, subscribe. Later!